with CIS 104 networking class. Today we are going to be doing all the hands-on activities in Chapter 6 of the CCNA Routing and Switching Deluxe Study Guidebook. Basically, this activity starts on page 269. I'm going to use a router because I'm always used to using routers over switches. And plus, when you use a router, you get to use all the configurations that we're going to go over in privilege mode and in executive mode. So, hands-on lab 6.1 is where we're going to start, and this goes all the way to 6.6. But the first activity is the following lab, which is erasing an existing configuration. The following lab may require the knowledge of a username and password to enter privilege mode. If the router has a configuration with an unknown username and password for privilege mode, this procedure will not be possible. It worked for me last time though, so we're still going to do it. It is possible to erase a configuration without a privilege mode password, but the exact steps depend on the model and will not be covered until Chapter 7. So first we want to start the switcher router. Make sure I'm on routers. I like the 1941. When you go inside here, make sure you turn it off and get both your serial interface cards in here. Because when we get to configurations for serial interface, if you don't have those two in, it's not going to pick it up. It's not going to know what it's talking about because the cards to the serial interfaces are right here. They need to be in and then turn your router back on. So as we go in the command line interface, as you can see, it's initializing and loading up right now. What we're going to do is at the router prompt, continue with configuration. I always hit no because we don't need to configure all that. We're going to be doing plenty of them. EN for enable is the short way, or you can just type out enable. Maybe I can. There we go. And then that's going to put us into exec mode. So if prompted, enter the username and press enter. Then enter the correct password and press enter. I haven't done any password configurations. This is a brand new router, so we're kind of starting from scratch. So now that we're in the privilege mode, we want to type erase startup config. Erasing the NVRAM file system will remove all the configuration files. Do you want to continue? Push enter to confirm it. Erase the NVRAM is complete. If you want to get it back at the privilege mode prompt, just type reload. Proceed with the reload. Yes, and there it goes. It's reloading back up. When prompted to save the configuration, type no, and then we'll move on to the next activity. All right, on 6.2. In the following lab, this is the exploring user privilege and configuration modes. In the following lab, you'll explore user privilege and configuration modes. Plug the switch in or turn the router on. It's already on if you just erase the configuration as in hands on lab 6.1. When prompted to continue with the configuration dialog, enter no, which I did, and press enter. When prompted, press enter to connect to your router. This will put you into user mode. At switch prompt, we're going to just type a question mark. Oops. And you'll see some commands pop up. Now it says go check out the more at the bottom of the screen. We're not there yet because we don't have enough like commands to fulfill this space right here. When this space gets gets a little combined with more commands inside it, you'll see the more button down here, and it will expand for you. When you hit space or enter, you can hit Q to quit. Now don't hit Q if you're right here on your privilege mode for the router, because if you hit Q with the router when you're supposed to enable and get into executive mode, if you hit Q right there on router, it will think that you're trying to quit on the server, and then it'll read it as that way. So now we're going to type enable, or EN for short. This will put you back into privilege mode where you can change and view router configurations. At the router prompt, type a question mark Now we see that more icon that I was talking about. See, if you hit space, it'll just go to the bottom. And you can always type Q to quit out of that. Now we're going to get into executive mode. So we're going to have to type config. Configuring from terminal network or network terminal. Press enter. Now we're going to type now normally I would type interface F01 to show you an example. I'm going to have to use my gigabyte because I haven't, and I'll show you why. Right here, I have no other routers to have a F01 interface. You have to have a router to router, router to PC with a what's the cable called? This one right here. Yeah, crossover cable. You have to have a crossover cable in order to have F0. See, like right now, if I pull it up, we don't even have an F01 yet. But we do have gigabytes that I can show an example with on this next one. So instead of interface F01, let's just go interface G0/0. And then we're in gigabyte interface mode. At the config if prompt, type a question mark so we can check out all these commands. And then press Q, get out of there. Now we're going to do encapsulation space with a question mark. Said it was an unrecognized command. Hold on just a sec there. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped the step. But okay, so just a sec. Let's exit out of here. Okay, we're in config mode. Get back into config mode. Now we got to check out our serial interface. Remember when I told you put those cards right here on the physical part? Put these in here before we configure the serial interface. If we wouldn't have done that, we wouldn't have been able to do this next command that I'm going to show you. So interface S0/0/0. Okay, that's not one that it wants to see here. Let's check it out. Always hover over here to see what you have. Okay, I can do a 0, 0, 0, down, down, down. Okay. Interface S0/0. That should work. Okay, it didn't work either. Hold on a sec. S0/0/0. There we go. Ah, I just noticed I typed interface twice. So interface S0/0, press enter. This will allow you to configure interface into serial. And you know, here we can also switch, like exit out of if mode. Get back into config, go interface S0/1/0, and so far. So you can switch from serial interface to interface. Now we're going to type encapsulation with a question mark. Frame relay networks. This is all the serial HDLC point-to-point protocol, just showing what that's all about. Encapsulation is working. Now we want to exit out of here. And it brought us back one level. Now if you hit Control Z, notice how this brings you out of configuration mode and puts you back into privilege mode. Type disable. Type exit. This takes us all the way out and back to the start. So now we're going to move on to 6.3, which is using the help and editing features. This lab will provide hands-on experience with Cisco's help and editing features. Log into your device and go into privilege mode by typing enable or EN. And then type a question mark. You're noticing that we're seeing more and more commands as we're going along because we're doing more configurations. Type CL and go ahead and get out of this. Push Q. CL question mark. Clear the clock. Then type clock question mark. Set the time and date. Set the clock by typing clock question mark We already did that. Then follow the help screen, setting the time and date. Type clock, question mark, and then clock set, question mark. And then it wants you to type the time, clock set. We'll do the example in the book, 10:30 and 30 seconds, question mark. Then it wants the day. We'll do the 14th of May, like in the book. Believe me, any date that we will be putting on here would work, and then the year 2011. So there, our clock is set. Type clock set 10:30, 30 seconds, 14th of May, 2011. Press enter. Now type show clock to check it out. Configuration that we did. There it is, 10:30, 37. UTC Saturday, May 14th, 2011. Now, from the privilege mode, which we are in right now, type show access dash list 10. In case you guys don't know, if you hit up, it will put your command back out. Show access list 10. Oh, I was not supposed to press enter. Exit out of that. Let's go enable. Okay, show access list 10. Do not press enter. Press Control A instead. Takes me right to the back. Then hit Control E. Takes you to the back of the command. And then Control A takes you to the front. Control F moves you up one. Control B moves you back one. Just a couple shortcuts that you might want to know. Now let's press enter and then Control P. It'll repeat the last command that you just did. Press the up arrow key also. That'll work. What I was just talking to you about. Now we want to show our history. So let's go sh history to show that command. En show access. See, that's going to show the last 10 commands that we just